Today, a select few countries have succeeded in realistically developing the mystical missile 5 times faster than sound. Battles and victories will be decided in a matter of seconds. Stay tuned as we ponder the most dangerous new missiles that shocked the US. What can this advanced modern technological missile be? What capabilities does it possess? Which countries possess such insane missiles, and what advantage does it pose? We are going to be unraveling the mysteries of this new modernized arsenal of the 21st century, so make sure to stick around and keep watching. The Chinese have launched new, capable nuclear hypersonic missiles more than once, which in turn has rained down a storm of unrest on the United States Army and government. The hypersonic missile, after being launched, circled the Earth's orbit before hitting its target. Immediately after, the United States politicians and several commentators were briefed about China's alarming progress. Beijing was quick to deny the allegations, insisting that it was just a test of a reusable spacecraft. What kind of insane missile did China launch? What's the difference between an ICBM and FOBS? For years, China has been designing and developing a hypersonic nuclear warhead missile in the shadows. A hypersonic missile is a missile that can hit its target swiftly and moves 5 times faster than sound. ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, are long-range missiles that leave the Earth's atmosphere before re-entry, pursuing a parabolic trajectory towards their target, while the FOBS, or fractional orbital bombardment system, launches missiles into partial orbit around the Earth in order to strike targets from an unexpected direction. Significantly, a hypersonic missile is maneuverable, making it harder to detect or defend against. Pretty astonishing, right? Considerably, the United States' accusations and China's denial seem far-stretched. The director of research at the Foreign Policy Institute in Philadelphia, Aaron Stein, stated, "A reusable space plane is a hypersonic glider. It just lands. A FOB system delivered by some sort of glider would do much of the same thing as a reusable space plane. So I think the actual differences between the two stories are marginal." Although in recent years many US senior officials have hinted at this kind of uprising. The United States has been worried about the looming threat of China's current military design and development hypersonic missiles. The United States Disarmament Ambassador Robert Wood made a statement after credible confirmation that Beijing had recently launched a hypersonic missile. He said, "The United States is very concerned about China's recent development of hypersonic technology." He continued, "We are very concerned by what China has been doing on the hypersonic front." A few months back, the Financial Times reported that Beijing had launched a nuclear-capable missile that circled the Earth in low orbit before narrowly missing its target by a few miles. Wood stated that, "We just don't know how we can defend ourselves against that type of technology. Neither do the Chinese or Russians." In defense of the various accusations and assumptions, the Chinese Foreign Minister, Zhao Lijian, told certain reporters, "According to my understanding, the test is a routine spacecraft test, used to test reusable spacecraft technology. This would be a convenient and cheap way for man to use space for peaceful purposes." All the pieces of information and reports of the Chinese activities came at a very sensitive time, as China's relationship with the United States continues to deteriorate, with some respondents saying that recent developments are in comparison to those during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the West in the 20th century. The ideology is to amass a weapon that enters partial orbit around the Earth's surface to strike targets from an unexpected direction. Insane, right? Well, what China did was to combine the FOBS technology with a hypersonic glider. They glide along the outer edge of the atmosphere, avoiding the missile defenses. Why? Most certainly, it is due to the possibility that the United States will execute a combination of modernized nuclear forces and missile defense systems to take away their nuclear deterrent. Aaron Stein commented that all the major players are hypersonic missile systems, but view them differently. And this differing point of view, he argues, fits into the other side's paranoia, fueling the arms race. Both Beijing and Moscow now view supersonic missiles as a means to ensure the defeat of missiles, he thinks. But in a broader and clearer view, the United States plans to use them to strike so-called hard targets like things that support nuclear command and control, utilizing conventional or non-conventional nuclear warheads. Nonetheless, some supporters of the rapid nuclear modernization in the United States have referred to the recent Chinese test as a Sputnik moment, referring to the surprise and alarm felt in the United States following the Soviet Union's first orbital satellite test in the late 1950s. According to the BBC, some experts disagree and don't believe China's experiments are a threat in any way. James Acton of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace stated that the United States has been vulnerable to nuclear attack from China since the 1980s. He also thinks that thorough Chinese, Russian, and North Korean programs to destroy the United States' missile defenses should make the United States rethink whether treaties that impose limits on such defenses are, probably now, in the United States' interest. Mr. Lewis stressed the importance of the United States waking from its slumber now and drawing to the right decision. He said, "I fear this is more like a 9/11, where in the aftermath of the surprise and reeling from a mix of fear and vulnerability, we embarked on a series of disastrous foreign policy decisions that made us far less safe." He continued, "In fact, one of the things we did was to withdraw from the Anti-Ballistic Missile, or ABM Treaty, which is far more responsible for China's development of this system than anything else." Drew Thomas, a former director for China, Taiwan, and Mongolia in the Office of the Secretary of Defense in the United States, stated that the Department of Defense and the intelligence community have been monitoring and tracking China's missile programs for years. He said, "Without transparency in China's space program, it is difficult to make credible denials. I think Biden's calculation has changed recently. This just reinforces the conclusion. Countries like Israel, the United States, and many more have developed methods or systems to defend against cruise and ballistic missiles." However, for countries such as the United States, the ability to track and destroy hypersonic missiles remains a question and a problem. However, nuclear experts in the United States pointed out that ballistic missile defense systems are designed to protect against rogue states with small arsenals but cannot protect against a massive hail of missiles from Russia or China. Nuclear deterrence is the United States' strategy against major nuclear powers. Vipin Narang, a professor of nuclear security and political science at MIT, said that one of the reasons why the United States pursues counterforce and missile defense capabilities is precisely to force adversaries to invest a lot of time and resources in developing crazy experimental systems. He added that this is a feature, not a bug, of U.S. strategy. The United States needs to wake up and catch up with its competitors because America's potential adversaries are all seeking to be technologically advanced and upgrade their military weaponry. However, China's military assets are still less in comparison to those of the United States. But concerns about the United States' missile defenses and conventional precision long-range weaponry systems are all pushing it to develop a larger and more diverse nuclear arsenal. Another country surfacing with hypersonic missile capability in Asia is North Korea. They are seeking to modernize and fine-tune their nuclear capabilities, not excluding the fact that, as Ankit Panda of the Carnegie Endowment notes, to secure additional leverage in future diplomacy. It also stated that for a few years now, they have demanded to be treated as equals by the United States and see the development of limitless and advanced modern technological nuclear and missile capabilities as the only way to earn that respect. This all contributes to more growing nuclear headaches for the administration of the United States President, Joe Biden. The persistent collapse or disintegration of the current fabric of arms control agreements inherited from the Cold War seems futile against this constant hypersonic nuclear unrest in the United States. Nor does it reduce the tension with both Moscow and Beijing. Commentators such as Ankit Panda explained the single most meaningful thing the United States could do to stem and slow the ongoing arms race is to discuss limitations on strategic missile defenses as it did during the Cold War. He said, putting missile defense on the table would allow Washington to extract meaningful concessions from Russia and China. It would also deter each party from pursuing a costly, convoluted, and dangerous method of delivering nuclear weapons. Furthermore, China has been aggressively and simultaneously designing and developing the technology, according to a recent report by the United States. Intercontinental hypersonic nuclear ballistic missiles, hypersonic spacecraft, rockets, and other hypersonic military weapons that are still in development will be game changers in modern world warfare. What effect do you reckon the constant growth and development of hypersonic weapons will have on the country's economy? With the United States' current helplessness in developing its own hypersonic weapons and effective counterattack systems, do you think the United States can still maintain its front seat as the topmost world power by 2030? Drop your comments and let us know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.